1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, you're listening to the Skylight Books podcast series. We are a general interest independent bookstore located in the Los Feliz neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. This year, because of the coronavirus pandemic, we've had to close our store and cancel in-person events. But Skylight is your neighborhood bookstore, and we are finding ways to create community even while we're far apart. In the coming weeks, we'll be putting out lots of new audio content to help you discover new books, connect with authors, and check in with your favorite booksellers. To learn more about how you can help keep Skylight alive, please visit our website at skylightbooks.com or check out our social media accounts on Twitter and Instagram. You can subscribe to the podcast on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Okay, you guys, Melissa Broder, she's the author of the novel The Pisces, the essay collection So Sad Today, and 4 poetry collections, including Last Sext. She's written for the New York Times, Elle.com, Vice, Vogue Italia, and New York Magazine's The Cut. And her poems have appeared in Poetry, the Iowa Review, Tin House, and Guernica. And she's the winner of the Pushcart Prize for Poetry. Now, Ryan O'Connell, he's the writer, creator, and star of the Emmy-nominated television show called Special on Netflix that is based on his own memoir. And he's done a lot of other stuff as well. We're super glad he's here. All right, you guys, if you have any problems at all, just refresh your screen and come on right back to us. We are so happy you're here. And now, without further ado, wherever you are, I don't care if you're from Iowa or Boston or wherever you are, please put your hands together for these fantastic talents, Melissa Brody and Ryan O'Connell. All right.
Okay, I'm addicted. I'm so sad that we couldn't be there in person because everyone at Skylight is so hot and it's a mood. You know what I mean?
Definitely. It is a hot book environment.
I miss feeling cruisy in a bookstore. You know what I mean? It's like very TBT.
Have you ever done anything in a bookstore?
No, sadly. But
you've never gotten busy in a bookstore bathroom?
No, but put it on the post-pandemic list.
Yes.
It's all happening.
There's a lot of life to be lived.
Exactly. But before we do any living, do you want to start with a little reading moment of whatever?
Let's have that moment. So I'll read a chunk, you read a chunk, and then we'll just like talk.
Gorgeous.
Right? And then we'll take cues. We'll take questions. So line them up. All right. So I'm going to read a section of the book where so our protagonist is Rachel. She's 24. She's sort of Our Lady of body dysmorphia and food restriction, and as of now. And she goes to the same frozen yogurt shop every day. Her lunch is it's a double. It's like a bi-part lunch. So it's the first thing she does is she hits Subway. She gets the same salad every day. It's 160 calories. Does not eat in the Subway because doesn't want to be witnessed by the sandwich artists. Then proceeds next door to Yo Good, her favorite yogurt shop, and she really likes the counter boy there. He's an Orthodox boy, and what she loves about him is that he doesn't peer pressure her about toppings. He doesn't question her order, which is a very specific order, because it has to be exact, just to the lip of the cup, or it's calorically uncountable. So one day she goes to Yo Good, and the Orthodox boy is no longer there. And who is there but this woman, Miriam, who is a mystic mensch, who is about Rachel's age. She's actually the sister of the yogurt boy. She is, she's also in her early 20s. She is what I would call a kosher coquette. She is zaftig. She is luscious. She is voluptuous. She's everything that Rachel will not allow herself to be. So, and she starts to foist toppings on Rachel. Now there is one moment where Rachel returns to Yo Good and Adiv has come back. And this is the scene I'm going to read. So Rachel goes to Yo Good. She's ready for her lunchtime ritual. For those of you with food rituals, you know how important it is that everything remains within the box. And Adiv has returned. Chapter 14. A great miracle occurred. Adiv had returned. Shalom, I called out when I saw him behind the counter. Shalom, he said, looking very confused. Never, I was sure, had any customer been so happy to see Adiv back at it. This was my burning bush, my Noah and the ark and the dove. I was to be captain of my dessert realm again. No more peer-pressured extras or yogurt in conversation. I wondered how his experience in Israel had been, what his views were, but a food service interaction seemed an inopportune time to say, hey, any thoughts on a two-state solution? I'll have the cheesecake, I said, omitting any discourse on land disputes. Then Miriam emerged from the back. Hey, Rachel, she said, signaling that she'd handle me. Oh, hi, I said. Be useful and go unbox the pretzel cones, she said to Adiv. Adiv complied. I watched her grab a 16-ounce cup and pull the lever on the machine. The yogurt began its ascent, swirling upward until it overtook the brim, entering the unsafe space above it. But then it transcended that realm, soaring to a new, unthinkable altitude before reaching a summit that was miles above where she began. Even for Miriam's style, the serving was absurd. I want to give you a free topping, she said, because you didn't like your last yogurt. That's okay, I said. I don't want one. Come on, she said. There has to be something you like. What about sprinkles? I'm just going to put sprinkles on it, just a little. Rainbow, I said instinctively, then thought, fuck. I watched her spooning on the sprinkles and noticed for the first time that she had lovely fingernails, smooth and egg-shaped, trimmed neatly. She wasn't a biter like me, a compulsive habit that began in childhood as something of a snack. Now I painted my nails. Oh, Rachel's mom was like really fucked up about food. Not totally fictional. Now I painted my nails red as a deterrent, but I only ended up biting off the polish too, spitting flakes of crimson. When she handed me the yogurt, every inch of that mammoth peak was covered in rainbow sprinkles. It was gorgeous, seamless, as though the yogurt were a rainbow itself. No separation between dessert and topping. Its beauty made me think for a moment that it should have always been this way. I stared at the sculptural masterpiece in my hand. I wanted to kiss it, to make out with it, to touch it with my tongue and lips and explore what those tiny textures felt like. Simply holding the cup, I was rocketed back to Sprinkles' past. I remembered that they were actually made of tiny bits of dried frosting, and the way you could dissolve them in your mouth, suck until they softened back to frosting once again, completing one of life's great cycles of transformation. See, said Miriam, everyone loves a topping. I smiled at her and felt weak. Then, as though compelled by an otherworldly force, I brought that majestic mountain to my mouth, licked it, and took a bite. I said with my mouth full. Thanks. I closed my eyes. The sprinkles were so delicious, melting there on my tongue, that my throat began to call out for them. What would be the harm? What would be the harm, said my throat. What would be so bad about just swallowing? Of course, I knew what the harm would be. Sprinkles were loaded with sugar, and there was no way of knowing how many of them were packed into any given mouthful. From one bite to the next, it would be impossible to calculate a caloric load. Panicking, I spun on my heel and headed for the door. I hoped that I could keep the concoction in my mouth long enough without swallowing to get to the trash can on the curb. But when I reached the can, my lips would not open to relinquish the mouthful. I stood there and swallowed it down my gullet. Then, to my horror, I found myself sticking my tongue into a crevice between yogurt and cup, where a small pile of naked sprinkles had fallen. I licked them out. I didn't stop, but pressed on to where the sprinkles and some drips of melted yogurt had formed a viscous union. I chewed these bites up quickly and swallowed again and again, as though this were the fastest way to get rid of them. While I ate, I watched myself, like I was hovering up above, split into two beings. One of me was the one doing the eating. The other observed myself in shock as I continued to devour it all. Stop, stop, called out the observer me, but it was no use. I was consumed by the yogurt, all five senses bathing in its drips and swirls, as though I had entered some yogurt door. No thought, no vision or sound, but the yogurt and its sprinkles. Any fear or hesitation fully eclipsed by sensation, the crunch, the slurp, the melt, the heavenly feeling of cleaning each side evenly with my tongue, hardness and softness, sweetness and more sweetness, a prism of beauty on earth and above it, and me, the me on the ground, nothing but a giant mouth and tongue, eating and eating for nothing, not one thing, except sheer pleasure alone. I don't know how long I stood there in front of the trash can, devouring, licking, swallowing. I only knew that when my mind and body were finally united again, the first thing I noticed was the sour smell of trash in the warm sun. I felt afraid, then a hot shame. It had really happened. I'd eaten the whole thing. All that remained was a dribble at the bottom with 2 sprinkles floating in it, one pink and one blue. I dug them out with my spoon and put that last little bite in my mouth. Something had taken me over, possessed me, some phantom transmitted from Miriam to me, or a demon lurking latent all these years, now suddenly awakened. I had not lost control like that with food since I was 16 years old. I'd thought the demon was dead. No, that wasn't true. I'd sensed the demon in me all along, waiting for the right moment to open my mouth, suck the world down my throat. All of my restriction, my efforts at control, as I tiptoed daily around the edge of hunger, were enacted in the name of keeping that demon shut up. Sleep late to delay calories, write everything down, eat ice, avoid friends. But in all that busyness, I'd forgotten what made the demon space so dangerous in the first place. When you were in it, it felt fucking great.
Oh my God, I
That's
love
me.
it. Wow, so much non-consensual yogurt making.
The yogurt takes over. No means no, except
No
when it
means
comes to
yo.
yogurt. No means yo.
Kill me. Okay, I didn't mean that. I had to order. I had to Postmates frozen yogurt twice while reading Milk Fed. I just have to let you know, because I just craved it. It's like reading yogurt erotica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Erotica.
Well, speaking of erotica, I'm going to read a section that is a lesbian sex fantasy. And, I'm doing it as a form of exposure therapy. So let's see. Let's see what happens. It's chapter 41. After work, I had no energy for the gym. I chewed 2 pieces of nicotine gum at once and went anyway. When I changed into my workout clothes, I discovered that my spandex shorts were now so tight they gave me camel toe. Chronic camel toe. Every time I fixed the toe, it emerged again, somehow deeper. On the elliptical machine, I let the shorts rub against me, feeling horny. It was some new kind of horniness, or maybe a very old kind raw lust, like when I first discovered masturbation and indulged in it daily. The horniness felt like hunger itself. I was fully famished, and I didn't know whether it was food or sex I wanted. Maybe I wanted both. All of this eating seemed to have made me more sexually charged, awake. But what was waking up exactly? My pussy or my soul? I was scared of my soul. What if my soul was monstrous? If a person had a monstrous soul, should she still follow it? I switched to the stationary bike. As I pedaled, my pussy rubbed against the black leather seat, and I felt a delicious warmth spread throughout my pelvis. The front of the bike seat was horn-shaped. It poked out in front of me like a cock. I took to this right away, having my own thick cock. I wanted to make the cock come alive, to say a blessing over it. Franken cock, a bike seat dick. I began reciting quietly any Hebrew I could remember. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce Hebrew, so...
Wait, what page are you on, Ryan? I'll do the Hebrew for you.
162, top of 162. Okay.
Ryan doesn't want to get canceled for appropriating the Hebrew.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Here we go. Nun gimel hey shin. Nun gimel hey shin.
I whispered, intoning the letters of the dreidel to the rhythm of my pedaling.
Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
I sang to myself, using the old tune I knew, but I felt guilty using my grandmother's favorite song to animate a penis.
Eitz chaim chai lemachazim ba vetomechaha me'ushar.
I crooned internally, delivering a captivating performance of the Tree of Life song. Suddenly, I felt incredibly powerful, as though my cock were really coming alive. I imagined as I pedaled that Anna was sucking me. Anna is her coworker. For the first time, I felt no hesitance in fantasizing about her sexually. It was as though the cock protected me from judgment. I had total power over Anna. She looked up at me as I teased her face. She begged me to let her lick it. When I finally let her have it, grunting, "All right, suck," I acted like I was doing her a favor. She licked and sucked me, and I felt stimulated by two things, her mouth and my newfound dominance. I felt like another kind of creature altogether, some new being I had invoked. If I was a woman, I was not me as I'd known myself, but a woman with more courage than I thought I'd had. I was a woman of impulse, a woman of instinct. I was a woman of pleasure and a woman of confidence. I was a woman of appetites, a growling beast. I was a person. I continued to pedal, closing my eyes, rubbing against the seat. I imagined Anna sliding my cock between her tits, rubbing on her nipples, grasping as though she could come from that contact alone. It was like her nipples were two clits. I whipped her nipples with my dick and then whipped her face with it. Her expression grew serious, ardent. She begged me to put it inside her. At this point in the fantasy, I hit something of a choose-your-own adventure. One choice was to lick her pussy. I wanted to taste her so badly. Another was to deprive her. I didn't want to give her any help in getting wet. I wanted to know that her wetness was effortless, spontaneous, a reaction to the sight and feel of me. I wanted her to be so intoxicated by my presence that she became a river. In the end, I went with option A, lick it. Why should I rob myself the taste of her elixir? I ate her dripping wet pussy, ate it good, but I kept my reaction very self-contained. No reason for her to know how much pleasure it gave me. On the outside, I was a haughty daughter, then an impenetrable soldier, just doing her job gruffly. But on the inside, I reveled in Anna's taste, coppery like a shipwrecked chalice at the bottom of the ocean. Now she was crying for my cock. I decided that I would fuck her from behind. I turned her around and bit her gently on the ass, which was ample but saggy with age. The sagginess turned me on even more. I massaged her ass cheeks, opened them like a book, and aimed straight for her pussy hole, a lovely shade of purple seedless grape. I parked my cock right there at the entrance. She moaned, but not out of pain. "Please," she said, "please." When I felt she had begged long enough, I activated Frankencock. She groaned with delight and began moving back and forth on the length of me so that I barely had to thrust. But I wanted to thrust. I grabbed her hips and steadied her. "Stop fucking moving," I said. Then I used the power of my own hips to thrust deeper into her. I could go as long as I wanted, but while my phantom cock was made out of a seat, I could still feel all the pleasure in my organ. I felt a surge of tenderness for her as I came. "Do not go there," I said to myself. "No heart." I rode out the orgasm with the pleasure between my legs alone. It felt so good that I gave a little yelp out loud. I looked over at the man on the bike to my right. He was an older man, maybe 70, with white hair. He had headphones in and seemed totally absorbed in what he was listening to. I got the feeling it was an audiobook. David Baldacci or Clive Cussler. I laughed and closed my eyes again. Then I pedaled out the last waves of my orgasm. Okay, hot. Wow.
I just made you eat pussy.
I know. I feel very like first semester at Sarah Lawrence right now. Right? Okay.
It's a very experimental evening.
Oh my god, the comment section's popping off. Oh fuck. Okay. So, as you know, Melissa, I'm a very serious journalist and I only engage in hardball questions and hardball, sorry, that's industry talk for like really intense questions. So I'm going to just dive in deep with just my first question, which is, what is your favorite frozen yogurt place in LA? Now, are you a old school 80s mall frozen yogurt girl like Penguins, The Big Chill, West LA for life? Or are you a modern girl? Yogurtland, maybe even Yogurt Stop in West Hollywood.
I thought with modern girl, you were going to say like something like one of those fuckers that's like the hell, like the shit with like the things that keep you alive in it.
Oh,
like, I don't want my food to keep me alive.
It's like activated. It's like activated culture of stuff. Yeah,
like the Pinkberry the Pinkberry family of yogurts. And I don't want, I prefer my food to not keep me alive.
Totally.
Yeah, I want my food to be expediting this process. So I actually love Yogurtland because I love a topping. I love an abundance of topping. What about you?
I'm old school. I'm very TBT. I want I like the penguins frozen yogurt and the big chill. I want to taste something that feels so deeply unnatural that I might grow flippers afterwards. You know what I mean?
It's important.
It's really important. Another quick question. Marry, fuck, kill. Poems, Twitter, novels.
Oh, that's a really good question. So easy. Kill Twitter, fuck a poem, marry a novel. Because I mean, yeah. What about you?
I would kill Twitter because I mean I have famously deleted mine because I'm above it now. And then I would fuck a poem because they're so sexy. Oh my god, like they're such a vibe, and they're so confident.
You get in and you get out.
They're so confident. They're like, babe, I don't need to be that much, and I'm chicer than all of you. Which I'm like, okay, respect. And then marry a novel because I guess they're long and like they're respected and like you should marry them. Like they'd have a good job and like give you kids and stuff like that.
Well, writing a novel is kind of like a long-term relationship, like because it's like, you know, in the beginning there's the magic of like the idea of it, and then like 100 years later you're like what was I thinking? Like why? I can't believe that like love is actually like work. Like, where's the drug? You know, because the idea of the novel's a drug, right? That's a fucking drug. You're like high on your own shit. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking write a novel about this fucking shit. And then like you're in there and you're like, wait, like I have to go like pick it up toilet paper at CVS. Like, wait, I have to like listen to it and spend like I have to be present for this fucking yeah. So
you have to read it on Zoom to a bunch of strangers that are in a group chat.
Yeah, exactly.
and a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the journey of the novel, this is your second one. Tell me how the germ of the idea of Milk Fed got started.
So Milk Fed actually started with a really bad short story I wrote when I was 19 that was just a germ of this. It was basically there was no Jew stuff. The Jewiness was not involved in that iteration, and it was but it was two women, one with a very disordered eater and one very voluptuous and indulgent, who fall in love with each other. But it was really bad. Like, I think Miriam was called Gaia, and she was like a woman of the earth. And like, I think it was actually that story that kind of set me off just writing poems for the next like 10 years.
It traumatized you that bad?
Yeah.
Well, then, so what incited you to pick it up again?
Well, I knew that it was a story I always wanted to tell. And a couple of years ago, I started feeling this sort of longing for the Judaism of my childhood. And like, it's weird because, you know, I'm in LA. There's like no shortage of Jews here. Mm-hmm. Like, it's basically Fiddler on the Roof, like at all times, right? Like, I mean, it's like a giant Jew. But so I was like, what is it that I'm feeling this nostalgia for? And I realized it was the food element and the Judaism, the innocence I would feel when my grandparents would take me to a Jewish deli, some of which still exist, like Second Avenue Deli, still around, but it moved out of the East Village. But like Ratner's Dairy Restaurant, gone. Gus's Pickles, I don't think is on the street anymore. And there was an innocence I felt, you know, and an indulgence. And you know, it was amazing to think that at one point a sort of any component of an organized religion had felt that way to me, you know? And and food and Judaism have always been like inextricably linked for me. Like one of my earliest memories of being a Jew was like building a diorama of a sukkah, which is a hut. It's like the sukkah is like a harvest hut that like Jews build out of like grapes and shit and like sticks and sleep under during the harvest. But we would build these like little diorama versions with like graham crackers and icing, and I would like steal the ingredients and binge eat them, you know. And so that's like that's like early Judaism for me. And so I realized that these two stories, like that this story and that story were the same story.
How did you feel committing yourself to the topic of food? Because writing a novel, it's like you're just building a world, and sometimes you spend more time in that world than you do in this world, which TBH is a blessing these days. But like, how did you feel just being like, okay, this is going to be my journey. I'm going to be just like talking a lot about disordered eating, and I'm going to do long, sensual portraits of frozen yogurt. Like, were you a little nervous to be like that, or was part of you excited to go deep in that way?
I mean, it felt very natural. I'd say that like my oldest relationship is my fraught relationship with food and my body. You know, that's like by far my longest term relationship. And I think being someone who had an eating disorder when I was younger, I mean, I wouldn't say that I am like miraculously healed now. You know, the thing about like healing, I think that like I think that like in sort of in like the self-care industrial complex, we're sort of presented with like, you arrive at a place of healed and then like, that's it, you're free, you know, like you've bought the thing on Goop and like you are ascended. But for me, I find that like recovery from anything it's always a journey, right? And you have to eat to live. So you have to deal with food for the rest of your life. But having had like what was a more pronounced eating disorder when I was younger, you kind of, anyone who's had an eating disorder knows, you sort of get a PhD in all this, like you get a PhD in like all this information that you then, it's very hard to get rid of. So, you know, I did my research years ago.
Did you feel like you had any breakthroughs regarding your own relationship with food while writing the novel, or did it make you think about it in a different way?
No. It
You're
didn't.
like, nope, still here. Well,
No.
First of all, I'm like addicted about that because it's like, I feel like in LA, we talk a lot about food and we talk about like, oh my God, what cleanse are you on? I got staying thin, LOL, like whatever. But we rarely, I think, really talk about what we talk about when we talk about food. You know what I mean? It's like, there's a real darkness there. And I think that you really get into the minutia of the everyday hum of having an unhealthy relationship with food. Were you nervous about how people were going to react to that? Or did you kind of feel like this is your truth, let's go balls to the wall?
Yeah, like I feel like if it's your own shit, like it is then yours to, or you know, if it's like, it is then, you know, you can joke about, like, I have a long history of making fun of my own darkness, you know, and I did get some pushback, like with So Sad Today, you know, like you can't talk about depression this way. This is very serious. And I'm like, dude, it's my depression. I can talk about however I want, you know? And I feel like having, you know, I would never talk about someone else's challenges. I mean, I wouldn't attempt to like write narratives about someone else's challenges. Anyway, well, maybe some characters, like, you know, that's fiction, but like, I wouldn't be like joking about like somebody else's challenges. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, like my own challenges are like open fucking season, you know?
Well, you know,
what about you? Because your writing is humorous and you certainly write a lot about like the complications of living in a human body and the challenges of living in a body.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that I pretend to know everything. And I think that's like where a lot of people kind of get it wrong in a way. I think that like I'm very much a work in progress. And like when I'm talking about my stuff, it's very much my stuff. And I'm not speaking for a large swath of the population. I feel like it sounds really corny, but I feel like if you're operating from a place of honesty in your work, like people will see that and reward you for that. Like I'm not trying to be sensationalistic and I'm not trying to like be provocative. I feel like it's not my fault that like my very existence is provocative because I'm gay and disabled. Like, sorry, babe, that's on society. Send them the bill. Do you know what I mean? So like, I just feel like as long as you're coming at it authentically, people seem to respond well to it. I don't know.
I think that's right. Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely right.
So,
it's not your fault. You're fucking sensational. You know, it's like,
I didn't mean to be political. I'm not a political person. I eat chopped salads at La Scala.
Not to be political, but I exist.
By the way, speaking of chopped salads at La Scala, I was scanning for a reference of the Leon chopped.
It's not in there.
It's not in there.
Not in there.
Which you know what? I actually respect because like it's clearly reserved in this sacred space for you, which I support. And like, you know what I mean?
Well, the Subway salad that Rachel eats is very much a derivation of, and I think I told you this once, Ryan introduced me to La Scala chopped salad upon moving to Los Angeles. That was sort of for our second meeting, and we've always gone and gotten this fucking salad. So we get the salad a lot. I liked La Scala. Whatever. Now La Scala is like,
well, they got in trouble, but
it's fine.
whatever.
I don't give a shit. But anyway, I'm like, can you eat the art without thinking about the artist? And I'm like, yes, I can. The art is still fucking valid. I'm putting it in my mouth. But But the Subway salad that Rachel eats is actually a derivation, a very you would never eat it, but it's a very shit derivation. And I think I told you about it once. I told you, like, I've been eating this chopped salad at fucking Subway.
Oh, I think you haven't. Like,
and I think you were a bit horrified. Yeah,
my bones turned to crushed ice. I was a little horrified.
You have to get the book to see what the salad is. I'm not going to tell you what is in the salad. So this is like my little enticement. This is like the QVC portion. I'm like,
yes.
You know, when they always touch things on the Home Shopping Network, they always like make it. They're like, it's so soft. So order milk fed to find out the special Subway salad.
That was
hit the teal button.
That was very sensual. And that also leads me to the next question of, how do you write such good sex scenes? I have to say, like, it's so, I mean, again, as a gay male, I wasn't expecting to be titillated by some of the pictures that you were drawing with your brain. But I was like, okay, I want frozen yogurt and I might want a woman. So, I mean, like, so I was confused.
That's
How do you do it?
Well, I think I write to turn myself on first and foremost. Like, I don't think I could write a good sex scene if I wasn't turning myself on. I've also been doing it to turn myself on, like, from a utilitarian perspective for a very long time. Because, like, folks, I'm old, and, like, when I was growing up, like, there was no porn. In my day, there was no porn.
Actually, come on.
Like, I was making my own audio tapes. Like, I was writing my own weird erotic shit.
Are you like the old Grandma Rose from the Titanic right now?
Yes, I'm
like, break. It's been 84 years.
In my day, we didn't have X-Hamster. No, so I think I write to turn myself on. Then in the editorial process, I will edit it for, like, I guess, well, I'll edit it the way I edit all my writing, which is I edit and edit until it gets quiet. And, like, what I mean by quiet is nothing sticks. There's no voice in my head that goes, that could be a different word, or that's not quite what you mean, or you're bullshitting, or like, that sucks. You know, like, and that happens over time. So I'll definitely rigorously edit it. But the first is just, like, letting it rip.
Well, let's talk about that, because you have a very unconventional way of writing a first draft, which is that you do voice dictation on Surrey, right? Yeah. When I heard this, my mind was truly blown. First of all, I can't even figure out how to work Surrey or do any of those things, let alone write a gorgeous, sexy lesbian yogurt novel. So, like, how did this start? Like, and how do you still do it today? Is it like your guiding light?
Yeah. So, so I used to live in New York, as did you. And I would write poems, fuckable poems on the not to be married or killed on the subway. And because I like to write in places where I'm not supposed to be writing. Like, if I could write at a funeral, that's like probably my ideal, because it takes the pressure off. Because I'm like, I have so much noise in my head and so much perfectionism that I have to, like, play games with myself to dismantle the perfectionism. So I would write poems a lot on the subway or, like, walking. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I couldn't type and drive. Like, I couldn't, like, write poems on the 405. So I started dictating in my car, and it literally changed the nature of the content, like the form, the process changed the content. So my language became more conversational, and that's how, and my line breaks disappeared. And that's how I ended up writing the essays in So Sad Today. I was like, I'm writing essays now. This is so weird. Like, this is an essay. This is not a poem. Although I guess someone could be like, well, what's the difference? But whatever. They're not poems, they're essays. Okay. And so then when I got the idea to write the Pisces, I was like, well, I don't know if I could write a novel. And I was like, well, what if I just do it the way that I did So Sad Today, and just did, like, dictated 3 paragraphs a day, and just, like, let it be shit, and just, like, let go of the results, and so I did it. And it takes about 9 months to dictate a first draft, doing 3 paragraphs a day. But I don't stop and correct anything. Like, even if I see that Siri is translating the name wrong, all the names wrong and stuff, which it always does. Like, my first round of edits is then later just to try to figure out what I was even saying. But I don't correct anything as I go, because that's the beauty. It's got to be messy. It's got to be disgusting.
What if you feel more inspired to write more than 3 paragraphs? Do you always stop it no matter what? No,
3 paragraphs a day. But a lot of times, like, I'll do, like, 9 on a Monday, and then I'm like, yeah, bitch, like, I don't have to do, like, any for the next 2 days, you know?
Do you feel you've had such an interesting trajectory from starting off with poems, and then obviously having a wildly successful Twitter account, to doing a book of essays, and to doing now novels and now screenplays and television stuff. Are you surprised by how many mediums you fucked with? And like, was this kind of, looking back, are you like, oh, this is kind of something I always wanted, but never gave myself permission to have? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how have you made sense of that?
I am surprised because I always am like, I'm not going to be able to do this every time, like, I'm like, how the fuck do you do this? But then you just figure out how to do it. And I did not move to LA to get into screenwriting. Like, I moved here because my husband has health issues and we couldn't live in New York anymore. And I didn't want to move to like Miami or Phoenix, and we needed to be somewhere warm. And I thought my life was ending when I moved here. I was like, within a year, I'm going to be selling my poems for $1 on the beach. Like, what will I do without my New York poetry community? I've actually done, I feel that I have done okay without the New York poetry community. God bless them.
That's right. Drag them straight to fucking hell.
I'm like, but it's been fine. But I didn't think it was going to be fine. And so I'm surprised. I am surprised. And yeah.
What medium do you like the most? Or like, well, let's talk about TV and film, because you talk about the TV and film industry plays a little bit of a role in this novel, because your character works at a talent agency or a management agency or management company. And, it's like, it almost, you would think it's parody if you weren't in the business, as they say. But as someone who's also in the business, it is very real. Like, it's straight from the headlines.
It's real fake.
Yeah, it's bullshit. But how was it? Just a total fucking LOL-a-thon writing those scenes? Like, how did it? Like, was it just a nice little like delight, or like how did it feel skewering this business that you're a part of, and so am I?
It was so fun. I had the best fucking time. Like, the character Ofer, who has like her boss Ofer. So she has this boss, for those of you, for the people at home. She has this boss, Ofer, and he's like, well, wait, I'll just read this one paragraph about him.
It's so fucking funny.
I'll just tell you about Ofer. So Ofer, who makes her go to lunch and like hazes her into eating. So I hate communal lunches. Like, I don't want to be with a big crew. But okay, here's Ofer. So Ofer was an agent, and then he left the agency world because he thought he had a soul and became a manager. Okay, Ofer was. Let's see. Oh wait, no, that's not what I want to read. Hold on. Here, Ofer. All right. Ofer had started in the mailroom at Gersh and worked his way up to agent. 9 years later, he'd left the cutthroat agency world to open a talent management company, The Crew, which made him think he had a soul. Worse yet, his wife had just given birth to twin daughters, and he now identified as a feminist. Ofer was acquiring a perfunctory knowledge of social justice as dictated by think pieces on diversity, inclusion, and equal pay in The Hollywood Reporter. He made constant references to his privilege, also our privilege to be working there. So like what I find fascinating, and not just about Hollywood, but also about just media in general, is that like literally the best intentioned things can so easily be turned into a product or a brand or commodified. Like I'm endlessly fascinated by what, like McFeminism, right? Like big feminism, and I'm like that sort of, and yeah, I'm fascinated by it. I love it. I find it, the Ruth Bader Ginsburg tote bag of it all.
Yeah, I mean, because we live under capitalism, it's like you commodify something immediately. And it's really funny because we live in a world now that is dealing with such weighty issues and experiencing such a reckoning, but we're also just fully deep-throating capitalism. So it's like literally like my Instagram stories, it's like someone like posting like a copy of White Fragility, and then the next post is them doing an ad for flat tummy tea. And I'm like, like literally, like, how did we get here? Like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean?
100%. Anything. That's America, right? Anything is a product. But I'm fascinated by that. Like, I'm fascinated by the buying into that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's just like,
and Hollywood's a great place to play with that.
Well, it's just like, to me, like being a good person, or like altruism or whatever is like antithetical to capitalism. And trying to merge the two of them is truly, I mean, it gives me material for days. I mean, it's like, it's so misguided. And it's like, honey, you got to divorce. Do you know what I mean? You got to section that off.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like there's this idea of it seems to me that there's a lot of focus on declaring certitude, right? Like declaring moral certitude. And like, what better way to do that than like through the brand, like literally like when justice becomes a brand, or when feminist ideals become a brand, like you get to declare that certitude. And I feel like in MilkFed, I wanted to explore like the notion of certitude, right? Like what are we being fed? Who has fed it to us? Where are the ideas in our head? How do we know what we know to be true, right? And can belief like of the intellectual or emotional variety make something true? Like there can be two groups that hold completely warring beliefs, right? And they are both completely convinced that they are the keepers of the truth.
Yes.
So what does that mean? And how do we live also when those conflicts exist like within us, right? When we're not sure, when we are the keepers of two warring beliefs.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So this book is a lot about mothering to me. I mean, it's in the title, but it also plays even into some of the sexual fantasies of the book, and the character has mommy issues. Do you feel like all just roads lead back to your parents or to your mom? Like that, was that kind of a big inspiration for this? Because it feels like it's the theme kind of hovering over the book.
Personally, yes. Not going to speak for your mom.
No, but you can speak for whatever mom you want. Mom anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think, our parents are our first gods, right? Our parents are our first gods, and they give us our first religions, so to speak. And, I think that even atheists, everybody has gods, they could be the god of money. It can be the god of vanity. It can be the god of beauty. It can be the god of success. It can be the god of like romantic love, achievement. Even if these gods aren't like theological, we worship at a lot of altars. And so I think because it's our parents who give us like those first their directions as to like, this is what is important to worship, right? Like this is the way to perceive the world. A religion, right? A religion is a way to perceive the world. How can it not influence who we are and our whole way of being?
Absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of the book is about that search for meaning through sex, food, religion. I mean, do you see Rachel's desires kind of interacting with yours? Is there an overlap there?
Yeah, well, I think, I think that there's a lot of, I always thought that we should like that. For a long time, I thought like, well, sexuality could be compartmentalized from hunger, could be compartmentalized from familial yearning, could be compartmentalized from spiritual longing. And I've kind of, I don't think that they are separate. I think that they all influence each other, There's a writer, Janine Roth, who's a Jew. And she's sort of like, she's like the food lady. Like she writes about like when I was going through my binge eating years, I read a lot of Janine Roth trying to get my shit together. And she has this book, Women, Food, and God. And she's like, your relationship with food is your relationship with yourself and is your relationship with God. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I don't have a lot of, like, I claim that I have, like a power. I do like, feel like I have for like ongoing relationship with like some power that's not necessarily me. But I want to but actually I'm really trying to be in control here, So yeah. So, oh yeah. I mean, yes, they're all interdependent. And
well,
what about you? Tell me about You and food and sex, Ryan.
I don't know,
Like,
babe.
What's it like filming scenes where you have to be I've only seen the second season's not out yet, but in the first season of Special, you I mean, we talked before you were filming those scenes where you just have like your shirt off and
Yeah, I get fooked in the ass in the first season. Yeah, and there's a lot more sex in season 2.
Oh, good.
I think my relationship to it is very weird. I mean, I think that I get really scared, of course, initially. Like the first week of shooting, I just spent most of it like in a cock sock, which is like never fun and like never like on the top 10, dream list. But I also think that there's a really liberating aspect of it that I click into very quickly when I'm shooting, because I think like I have spent as a gay disabled person like my private parts like being control all deleted from society, and I love like copying and pasting them back on and then like forcing people to like look and being like, I dare you to erase me, bitch. Like I think there's like this defiance I have from it that is very like a fuck you mentality, which I think drives truly most of my work, and like most of my desire to create work is just like middle finger vibes. So yeah, I don't know. It's complicated though. Having a body is complicated and it's exhausting and it's weird and it's really hard to like tease apart what's real and like what is just a reflection of society and what it deems as beautiful and stuff like that. And I feel guilty when I look thin, and I like that I look thin, and I'm like, what's that about? What's that about? So it's all very complicado, and we're just along for the ride. But I feel like your book talks about that stuff too, and I think, I don't know, it's like your relationship to food and anyone's relationship to food in their body is so personal, and like why I like get mad when someone like calls me brave for getting naked. I'm like, lol, brave. You know what I mean? Like, wow, good for you. Or like even the body positive.
You're like, does that mean I don't look good? Because you wouldn't call me brave if I looked good.
You wouldn't call Blake Lively brave for getting naked. Are you kidding me? But I think like a part of, it's like even the body positive movement, I just feel like everyone's relationship to their body is so deeply personal, and it's not a one size fits all journey. And it's really complicated, and you just have to let people have their feelings and their relationship to it without judgment, which I think, I have to be honest, like when you told me the plot of this book, I remember being like, wow, that's a lot. That's an ambitious project. And you're going to be talking about a lot of thorny issues that a lot of people would shy away from. And as usual, you stuck the fucking landing, because I'm a gymnastics queen, because again, you're writing from a place of authenticity and truth. And I think you can't combat that. It's your experience. Like, I mean, it's not your memoir, obviously, but you can tell you're coming from a very pure place, and it really reads that way. Anyway,
I haven't gotten canceled yet. We're gonna see though. The book's only been out a week.
You guys, there's still time. Questions.
There's still time. You can be the first.
You can be the first.
Actually, someone did get mad at me for calling myself an alt-Jap on Twitter, and I'm like, honey, like they were like, that's a slur. I'm like, baby, until you've walked a mile in my bat mitzvah. Like, no, and it was like some white bread eating bitch. I'm like, you're not even a Jew. Like,
honey, that's why you got to delete Twitter. Then people can't reach you. It's very big in Sex and the City energy, where he tells Carrie, she can reach me, but I can't reach her.
I like that.
All right, I have two more questions, and then we're going to open it up for the Q and Slay. Okay. I feel like I would just like be remiss not to like talk about that this novel is like gay in a way. I mean, like I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, this is like a lesbian love story in a way. And reading it as a gay man, there was a lot of the coming out experience and like the kind of secretive behind the scenes like sex stuff, and like the someone putting. I remember. I don't want to like spoil anything, but there's like one hand holding scene that is so reminded me of this trip I took with my boyfriend in high school back from Santa Barbara, and we're in the backseat of his car and his parents were in the front, and like he wasn't gay to them or whatever. He wasn't gay to them. And we held hands, but we did it in this like, it was so intense because it was like very discreet, and it was like we might as well have been fucking in the back seat. Like the way we held hands and the way we inserted into each other's fingers, it was like Caligula. Do you know what I mean? And anyway, I just like, were you thinking about that aspect of it, or was it just a part of the book? I mean, I almost feel like I feel very post-gay, but I guess a lot of the world is not. Like, was that a really interesting thing for you to explore, the repression of sexuality?
Well, I mean, with the hand holding, I love longing. I love limerence. I love the first 2 weeks of anything. I love the first 2 weeks before the first 2 weeks of anything even more.
Mm-hmm.
So to have delay, I mean, to be able to like, for hands to be, what hands can do. Sometimes I feel like holding hands is more intimate than fucking, like truly.
It is. Yeah.
Kissing, definitely. Like kissing can be more intimate than like fucking without like a lot of kissing. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking can be the least sexual thing on the menu to me.
Yeah, fucking is not sex.
Yeah.
But holding hands while eating Twizzlers, wondering if the hand is going to reach back into the bag for a Twizzler. Once the hand reaches into the bag, the hand breaks from your hand. The hand moves to go get a Twizzler. The hand is eating the Twizzler. Is the hand going to come back post Twizzler? That is hot.
Yeah, and you have to read Milk Fed to find out, for God's sakes.
Will the hand come back post Twizzler? But there is also fucking. But I don't know. I mean, it's in terms of the coming out experience, it's weird being a bisexual. I will say that. I'm a bisexual. It is. It's a strange thing because it's like my experience, and this is my experience of everything, not just my sexuality, but my experience of the world too, is I never feel like I'm enough anything, right? So it's like, am I enough this? Am I enough that? Like what percentage? And I have found for me, like I'm just fluid, like even more, I'm just fluid. But it's weird. I think my experience of coming out, to my family, was not good. And it was sort of, and I retracted, I like ran right back in. It's very similar to Rachel's experience. You'll have to read the book to find that out. It's very similar to Rachel's experience. And, but there's, it's kind of this feeling of like, there's that feeling of, is this necessary? Is this necessary? Which I think, I don't know. Is it necessary? I mean, I think that's something to be answered. How honest we want to be with our parents is something to be answered by every person.
I mean, it must have felt good to be writing these sex scenes.
Well, at this point, it's like, hat. But I mean, I'm talking about like, I'm like 21 years old and my mom's like, I want to set you up with Ben Abramson. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of dating someone. And
oh my God, Ben Abramson, he's in the chat.
Yeah, Ben's in the chat.
Ben Hive, rise up.
Yeah. Yeah, but my mom's like, well, why? Why won't you go out with him? And I'm like, well, I'm dating someone. Well, like who? Like, and I'm like, well, it's a girl. And she's like, loses her shit, which is weird because she is like, I don't know. She's like always like been quote unquote politically left and doesn't judge anyone else. Yeah. However, when it's your own daughter.
When it hits close to homo. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have Melissa Broder's mom tonight. So bring her out. It's like Jenny Jones. Woo!
She's coming tomorrow to the Philly event.
Oh, great. Okay. So you can have that moment with her then. Okay, last question, and then we'll do Q and Slay. This is just a random question. You can choose to answer however you want. What keeps you full, and what keeps you hungry?
It's a really good question.
I know. I kind of. You're like, I'm like.
No, that's like the best question.
Okay.
So I feel like this is a book that explores a lot of spiritual stuff. So I'm going to answer from a spiritual perspective. So every day I wake up, I have this hole inside me, right? It's existential hole. And I wake up and I'm like, I gotta fill the fucking hole. Like I gotta fill it with like, I got to fill it with like, I got to achieve something. I got to make this happen. I got to do this. I'm not enough this. And every day it's a fucking daily remembering that, oh wait, it's an inside job. I actually like being in the hole when I go in, but I always forget that I like going in. So I'm just like trying to fill it. So I guess what fills the hole is like leaving the hole the fuck alone and like, just like letting the hole be and like quiet.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm a human being, so I'll probably just keep trying to throw shit in there for the rest of my life.
And then what keeps you hungry? Just general waking up every day and needing to fill the hole.
Yeah,
Cycle.
I think that the feeling that my own not enoughness is enough of it's a hungry ghost vibe.
Fair enough. Okay, well, boo, bitch. We got some
wait, will you just answer that really quickly and then?
Well, I answered that. Oh my God, what keeps me full and what keeps me hungry?
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same as you. I mean, what keeps me full is things being in motion and getting things done and crossing things off the list and accomplishing things and feeling productive. I think productivity is my drug and it's like my sanity. What keeps me hungry is being underestimated and proving people wrong. And again, like that's really fun. And it's been, again, the driving force, never underestimate the power of I'll show you. But it also is kind of tiring. It's kind of like, babe, like, come on. Like, do I really need to like prove some boneheaded exec named Josh in Santa Monica? Do I need to prove him wrong by winning an Emmy or something like that? I guess I do. I guess I live in service of Josh in Santa Monica. So yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of it.
What do you think you'd like? How do you think it would feel to like? Do you think it would be scary to suddenly like feel like you had nothing left to prove?
Yeah, I think about that all the time. It's like, what if I was like a mediocre straight white male named Josh, and I was born into like the utmost privilege, and the world was made for me, and I just like got everything. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know what it would. I don't know what it would be like to be Josh. I don't know what it would be like to like not fight against something, because like I truly do get off like people being surprised and being like, oh, we didn't think, like, okay, like that really does give me such euphoria. And I don't know. But luckily, because we live in an ableist, slightly homophobic society, I'll never have to find out. Am I right, girls? Oh my God, LOL. Okay, so let's do Q and Slay. Okay, there's 23 questions. Okay, let's do it.
We don't have to answer all of them.
Okay, do I just like pick the ones I like, or do you see them too, sweetie?
Yeah, I see them. I'll just.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Then you pick, obviously.
I'll pick. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. I feel like some of them I kind of answered in the thing. The jacket art. Okay. Fave lesbian sex scenes in film and literature. Represent. So I'm going to talk about literature because one of the producers of the Milk-Fed TV show is on here, so I shouldn't say that I don't watch TV because you're like supposed to watch TV, but I like don't really watch TV. Or like movies. Yeah. No, yeah. I'm like too much of an. It's not because I'm like noble. I just am the internet has destroyed my attention span. So, but books. I'm like looking at my. I love talking about books. I'm looking at my delicious shelf. Okay, so favorite, so I love Paul Takes the Form of a Mortal Girl. That book has hot, you could say, lesbian sex scenes in it. I love the poem Lifting Belly by Gertrude Stein.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Funny, Gertrude up in here, okay.
And that's the OG, food, that's the OG gut / desire / hunger poem. There's a beautiful book that has no sex, but much longing between two young girls called The Ice Palace by Tarjei Vesas that I love. I am going to give a shout out. Ooh, you know what book's really cool is that I read recently is Colette, The Pure and the Impure. Again,
I've heard that's good.
I'm having like a big Colette phase. It's just like I feel like when she hits. When she doesn't hit, she doesn't hit so much. But I love The Pure and the Impure. I'm trying to think. I'll come back. I think I actually have more boy on boy. I tend to like boy on boy. So I think I have more like boy on boy faves, but and I could go down that list.
What are some good boy on boy faves? Because I might need some racks.
Oh, well,
not to hijack this and make it about gay men.
Sure. So, well, anything. I love. There's a French writer named Hervé. I'm gonna I'm gonna sound like a fucking idiot. Okay, H-E. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce it. H-E-R-V-E with an accent over the E.
Okay.
G-U-I-B-E-R-T. Crazy for Vincent is one of his. He's a beautiful writer, but only 3 of his books are in 3 or 4 are in translation. But he has like a book of stories that's beautiful. I really like Garth Greenwell's Cleanness. I thought that was phenomenal.
So good.
I really love the trying to massage feces out of another man's ass scene in Call Me by Your Name, the book. I thought the peach scene was nothing compared to that. I thought that's one of my faves. There's I could go on. I will
okay.
Look at my Goodreads. If you look at my Goodreads.
Oh my God, you have a Goodreads? Oh my God, she's part of the community. Okay,
I'm a literary citizen.
Wow. Okay.
I'm a good literary citizen.
All right. What other? Let's see.
Oh, and of course, Brontes Purnell is the best.
Oh yeah, 100 Boyfriends. I just
funny.
read that. I just read the new book, his new one. It's so good.
He's so funny. And also, did you read Johnny? Would You Love Me If My Dick Were Bigger?
No, I haven't. I haven't read it yet. Another gay book that's really good that you should read is this book called Window by Alexis Penny. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's like it's pretty small. It's like on a small press. I found it at Family Bookstore on Fairfax, and it's just sex stories. Like that's all I care about is sex stories.
Of course.
Like,
wait, can I just look at my bookshelf?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm forgetting something. Hold on. Wait. Do you want to come to my bookshelf?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Of course. Show the readers what they want. Give them what they want.
What goes on behind the scenes? Here's I have a lot of horses. I have candles and crystals. That's another. Wait, that's a pony. This is my. So I made a neon dragon. There's a golden dragon in the book, but I like pink, so I made a neon pink. But wait, there's one book I want. Okay, so. I Look Divine by Christopher Coe. That's a book that came out in the 90s that is about vanity. It's not like super, super sexy, but it's about like vanity. It's an exploration of like vanity and aging.
Ooh, I love that.
And then also, can I just give a shout out, which not gay, but my girl, Marguerite Duras. And actually Blue Eyes, Black Hair is like half, it's like kind of gay because it's a woman who's like in love with a gay man, and like the whole book is just them like kind of staging it, like trying to fuck and it like not working. It's so Blue Eyes, Black Hair. It's so beautiful.
I love that. Everything's kind of baseline. Everything's baseline kind of gay anyway, especially if you're writing it in a book.
Yeah, exactly. If you're writing it down.
It's kind of gay.
It's kind of gay. Not like that. Okay. Okay. Rachel or Melissa. Sorry, Rachel's the character. Do you feel at the end of the book, Rachel's relationship with her mother is at some level of peace? It ends 3 years after the novel. Oh, I shouldn't spoiler it. Okay, no, I'm not going to talk about what happened. What's my favorite chapter of the book? We're going to do like 2 more questions because I feel like we're so like it's happening. How did you, Melissa and Ryan, how did you meet and become friends?
Oh my God, wait, okay. Well, I mean, I feel like there's probably 2 versions of this, I guess. I don't know.
I want yours.
Well, okay, so I thought So Sad Today was really funny, and I followed you on Twitter, and we met at Justa in Venice. Pause for laughs, whatever, we're that bitch. But here's the thing, I had met a lot of people from the internet, and in person, it was like scary Jerry, like skid marks on the driveway, get away from me, like socially awkward to the max. I'm really into a URL to IRL transition being seamless. And if like someone can't hold their weight, I got back problems from carrying a lot of conversations. So when I was meeting Melissa, I was a little nervous because I was like, I wasn't sure if it was going to be a misanthropic moment of whatever. And you were just honestly like a ball of like Southern California dreaminess, and like so funny, and you just like fucking got it, and you were no bullshit and no nonsense, and like I just found that to be really refreshing and honestly kind of medium rare. And yeah, I mean, and then that was it, and then it's been self-sustaining ever since. What's your perception?
Well, I really liked your essays for a long time, but you were sort of friends with a crew that I always assume like if I'm not friends with a crew, I'm just like, okay, they're too cool. You know what I'm saying? Like so you were sort of with the thought catalog folks.
You thought we were too cool. Oh my God. God help us all. God help us all, honey. The bar's low. Holy shit.
I think everyone's too cool. I told you, not enough anything. So anyway, so I get scared to try. So I'm like, I'm not reaching out. But then when you followed me, I was like, he knows I exist. And then like I followed you back or whatever. And then when I moved to California, or I guess, I don't know, it was like, it happened very quickly. Then when I found out you were a Virgo, I felt more at peace because I'm a Virgo. And astrology is bullshit, but if you can use it to self-soothe in a fictitious way, take it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, like this like Ryan's good. Like I like Ryan. And then the second time we went to get the chopped salad, and it was like,
and we've been chopped salading ever since.
It's been so much. We've seen that chopped salad through its own personal crisis.
We have, and we'll see it again. I'm ride or die. No, it's I think it's rare to kind of cultivate these like meaningful friendships, especially like with people in the same kind of field as you. I don't know. It's been really refreshing. It also just feels like we can talk about our work and I won't feel completely like pretentious or like whatever. I don't know. It's just like nice to have someone who understands and isn't like being weird.
Yeah. It's nice to have people who aren't being weird. It's nice to have people you can be honest with.
Yeah.
Human beings you can actually be honest with. Because it's like, as honest as I am on the internet, there's a lot of things, whatever.
Yeah.
Who the fuck? Yeah, like there's vulnerability, and then there's vulnerability.
Yes, I agree.
And a lot of times the things that are scariest to be honest about are like the most kind of boring.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let me do one more, and then we'll let people go because I feel like it's getting like long. Okay. All right. So where did the idea of daughtering come from? Okay. So basically, in the book, Rachel's therapist is always telling her to mother herself, right? It's the same way that we're being encouraged to like love yourself, and it's like, I'm always like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I don't even, like, if I knew how to do that, I would be doing it. Everyone's like, love yourself. And I'm like, now there's another thing I feel bad about not doing. So, but there's also like, being your own mother. And I'm like, well, I didn't really have that modeled to me in such a great way. But, there was actually an experience I had when I was going through a series of panic attacks. Like they come in waves, and a couple of years ago, and I was like, and I felt that it was coming from like in part that the language I was using to speak to myself was like so mean that it was just not helping. And I was like, well, how do I like mother myself? Like my therapist had said like mother. And I was like, but I forget, how do I do that? And then I was like, well, maybe I can't be my own mother, but what if I was like my own daughter for a second?
I love that part.
And that's a revelation that Rachel has.
I thought that was really good. That just like crystallizes it. It's like less pressure when you're the daughter.
So much less pressure. Because I'm like, I know what it means to, I don't know how necessarily, well, no, actually I'm a fucking good daughter now. I'm a good daughter. But anyway.
I feel like honestly, you've dealt with a lot of things, even since the time I've met you. And I feel like you've overcome a lot of stuff, and you are stronger. I don't know. I feel like you're, I don't know, whatever.
Well, I feel like we're both living, laughing, and loving. And, the living and the laughing and the loving goes on. And I've watched you live, laugh, and love a lot over these past few years.
Well, there's a lot more where that came from. So, oh my God, someone said you are both so hot and wonderful. Thank you for filling the void for me tonight. All I'm hearing is we're hot. And that makes me happy.
Thank you.
Wow. This has been such a fantastic night. Boy, oh boy, thank you both so much. A huge thank you to you, author Melissa Broder, and of course, Ryan O'Connell. Great questions. We really appreciate it. Don't forget, you guys, you can order Milk Fed right now at skylightbooks.com. And check back to the website often because we've always got new books coming in, and there's dozens of virtual events every month. Again, you guys, thank you so much for supporting your neighborhood bookstore, Skylight Books, no matter where you are. We're right here in Los Feliz, California. And please follow us on Twitter at Skylight Books. And one more time, you guys, on behalf of today's guests, Melissa Broder, and of course, Ryan O'Connell, my name is Christine Blackburn. Thank you guys so much. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the Skylight Books podcast series. Please don't forget to visit our website at skylightbooks.com and make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more author talks and bookseller conversations. You can find us on Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. Stay safe and healthy, and we hope to see you back in our store soon.